nice to have you here in my hobby room where I've got this lovely sheet of these are rub-ons from the Dollar Tree. And here's some other very inexpensive little memo pads I got from someone on some sort of clearance. And I also have paper cut already to the right size. So hopefully that'll help me get going here. So one of the things with rub-ons that I really like is that they come all over the place. You can find them. These are a little bit different. These are not like other rub-ons I've seen. Not like the ones I normally use. But the Dollar Tree has them for a good price. You have to admit, you get that whole sheet for a dollar. I think it's $1.25 when I bought it. I did buy it a while ago. But I'm looking at it, I'm putting it down, and then I try to rub it, and then I realize, guess what? I'm on the wrong side. So when I check it, I'm like, wait, that's not right. I got to turn it over, which I think is kind of funny. But I didn't know which way it was for sure, and now I do. But anyway, so I've got this really cool little tool that Tim Holtz puts out, and when I saw him use it for flowers and things and rub-ons and other things when a while ago, I purchased it. And you know what? This thing has come in handy. It's about $4 or $5, which seems like a lot for basically a metal pencil. But it has this flat side on there that really helps for these rub-ons. And then the other side's got a little like ball circle on it, which helps if you're working on flowers or you're trying to get some dimension with paper. If you put it down and then roll it in a circle, it'll help it to raise up and look dimensional. It's very cool. It's definitely worth the price if you see one or if you need a couple extra dollars to make free shipping or something like that. I would suggest it wholeheartedly. Look at the way that comes out though. Once I do it on the right side, it works really well, and I'm pretty happy with it. And as I decide, maybe I don't need to show it to you actually in the shot, I'll just put it wherever. Um, I do keep this one in the shot a lot better than some others. But now I'm going to use some of the watercolor pencils, Tim Holtz watercolor pencils. And what I've been doing with them, which I really like, is taking and coloring in the area that I want the darkest. And then kind of when I add the water and dragging it to make it lighter in the other places, I think that's coming out pretty well. I'm liking the way that looks. But on here, this is really nice with these rub-ons. I have to say, I am excited about how the cards look once they have these rub-ons on. They come out really nice. And I did these on white. You can obviously put these on some sort of a pattern, but I liked that this had the writing in the background, and I didn't want to really mess that up. So, I didn't want to make it too busy. And I think it comes out like a very clean and simple looking card with just those few things on it. And I put a couple different greens in there. And then I put a little color. I think I used like antique linen for the little piece of tape, so it kind of looks like an older piece of tape going across it. Could look like washi. You could make it any color you want. I just used, I believe that's antique linen. And, put a little bit of water on there and got that moving. And that ends up being the panel. Now, I go ahead and do all of these, and then I cut them down and put them on, and you'll see that at the end. Now, this one is one of those little cards that came out of that little set that I got, again, on clearance. I want to say it was $1 or maybe $2 at the most. So this little bee, really cute. He's kind of big, actually. I say he's little, but he's kind of big for a bee. He's like real bee size. Real life size is what I would say. But this cute little greenery around it is really nice, and it's really nice how it works on the pattern paper. It comes out looking like almost like you embossed it. It doesn't have the shine of emboss, but it sits on top of it so that it looks like it was put on there afterwards, which it was, but it doesn't, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. It doesn't show through. It's permanent on there. So once I got done with those, I went ahead and colored this one. This one was a lot easier to color in, a lot less going on than the flowers. But at the same time, I wanted the green to kind of be a little darker on the ends, the middle of it, and then a little lighter. And I did go through, and again, I sped this up, a lot. So I didn't feel like you needed to watch me debate over, every little leaf, whether or not I need to add more color to it or whatever. So I kind of sped that up, and I thought that would be good. And as I always say with the colors, you need to look at what you have and use what you have. You may not have all the colors of the watercolor pencils. Again, that's the only thing I have all the colors of. That's the only complete set of anything I own, pretty much in crafting. So I like to use that a lot because I have a lot of choices on that one. And then I'll go, oh, this color is really nice. Maybe I should get this in ink, because I don't have this one. It's kind of a slippery slope there, but I do like the colors. I like the palette and I like the way the colors look. So for that reason, it is nice to have something that right away. If I see that blue, I kind of think in my mind, well, which colors? I kind of know what the colors look like, and I do like that. So, and then this bee here, what's kind of nice is that yellow, when I get to the yellow, will show up on there, and the black, because it covers the background of the blue, it looks like could have put this little bee completely on top of the background, which is nice. It stands out really good, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So sometimes when you're working with this, you might want to use different mediums and just see how they look. I personally like colored pencils in general. I always have like just plain colored pencils, but I do like the way the watercolor in there it's kind of fun to play with. I feel like I'm painting. I wouldn't want to paint an entire bee on my own, but I do like the way it looks. So that was the end of that one. And the next one, what I ended up doing was making another little set of 4. So this one has a yellow background. There's got a little bee in this one too, but it's got a little flower. It's just like the other flower, only it's a little smaller. Then it's got this cute little tag, and it says bloom where you're planted, which is kind of nice. It's just kind of a nice little, it makes a nice card to send to someone, just like a hi, kind of a card. And I thought it looked cute on there, so I left it. And then I moved the flower over a little bit so it fills it a little bit better. Now this was a little easier to color as well because it's not as big of a flower. But it's still a pretty good size flower. Going around it, that's one of the things though, if you notice, I changed the way I'm doing it now. I'm using the round ball edge, and I'm going over, almost to the point of going over every single line. And that seems to work better. So before I was using the flat end and trying to basically rub, every area of it, but I seem to think I prefer using the ball end of this. It's almost like I feel like I've made this myself at the end. I've gone over every single line and done this myself, but I do like the way it looks at the end. So what I've always said is, if something takes a little bit more time, if I think it's worth it at the end, then I want to do it. I'll go ahead and do it if it's worth it. And I think this was worth it. And I think that I would definitely go to the Dollar Tree and purchase another set of these. I mean, I made 4 really nice cards. I like them at the end a lot. I think they were fun to do. I had a good time making them. It took me a while to make them. It wasn't super easy. I mean, it wasn't quick, but that's the reason you do crafts. You want to enjoy it. To me, it's more important that it's fun than that it's quick. A lot of people will say, oh, if you buy this, whatever, you can make cards just like this. And you're like, well, what's the fun in that? Like, yeah, I guess sometimes you want to make fast cards, but I want to make it. I mean, that's kind of the fun of it, is to make something out of it. So after I literally ran over every single line, I kind of feel like I almost drew this. I might be tempted to say, yes, I drew every line of that's on there, but I would definitely buy it again. So anyway, after the four cards I made, if you look, when I'm looking at that sheet, I don't think I really showed it. There are a lot more um, things on there to make, and that's really neat. One of the things on there that I don't use in this is there's a background that looks like a wire fence almost. And I think that would be great to put down, and I'll probably do this in the future at some point, but put down and put a flower, like instead of this flower on top of it, I would put like a die cut flower on it. I think it would be cool to have a die cut, flowers or something like that on it with a nice sentiment underneath it. I think that would be a little bit um, a little bit better. So I'm doing this one in a red orange. I think it was that I'm not sure. And I think I had a fire brick to it. I wanted it to be a little redder. Or maybe I wanted it to be a little oranger. But I think it came out a pretty neat color. I tried to make them, they're not all the same colors. I used different greens even. In this one, you notice I made like a lighter green in the middle. I don't know if you noticed that or not. But now that I'm pointing it out, maybe you'll notice. I played with it to see what I liked better because I wanted to see how it would look. So I did all of the coloring on this one, and then I went and went back. So I made the little heart there a blue, so it could kind of look like I was thinking like a blue, painted wood kind of thing is what it kind of reminds me of if you look at it close. But I like the way it looks a lot. I think it came out really neat. And with that yellow in the background, the bee still shows up. I used some yellow on that, a little blue on the wings, so it looks like it's a little bit, um, translucent. And that looks kind of neat. And I'm showing it up too high again. Really have to work on this camera work. It's not as easy as it looks. When you see other people do it, you think, well, that's really easy. But it's not that easy. So now I'm cleaning up my waters. I decided to move it over. That was a good idea. So this final one here, you notice, look at, there's a great big one up there. That great big one. I was kind of afraid of that one, but I'll get to it eventually. It's just, it would be, I'm not even sure. I think that would fit on like a 5x7 card. And otherwise you could cut it up and you could always put, one on each one. But I think it would be neat to have the whole thing on something, the whole image. It looked really cool. So here's another B one. I think this one's a little bit smaller, but I thought it would go in this square that this makes kind of neat and I don't know, something to play with. So I did this one a little bit different too. And again, if you notice, I'm using the ball part of the tool and not the flat side of it. And I think that is definitely something I would recommend. And you probably have one of those little ball things maybe for something else. I just don't know how comfortable it is. This is very heavy, a very substantial tool. It's not, maybe it was $5 or $6. I'm not sure. It wasn't that much. I remember thinking I was surprised that it wasn't that much when I saw how much it was. And I was like, yes, please, I want one of those because I've had it for a couple years now, and I've definitely got my money's worth out of it. I would highly recommend it. I've never seen another one like it, by anyone else. I mean, people make various. Oh, I decided to make this blue or like a teal color. This was very exciting to me because I always say this. When you're making these things, you can make them whatever color you want because you're making them, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be green. And I was like, I always see people make them out of cool colors, and I always think, I'm going to do that. So I did. And I used that teal color. I think that's peacock feathers or something. And I thought, this will be fun. I will do this and I really like the way it came out. And I think it looks good with the yellow too, by the way, as opposed to just a, regular green, which probably would look great too. I don't think you can almost go wrong with these. And I'm sure it was a while ago. I mean, a good while ago that I picked these up. And the fact that I'm just now getting around to using them because I found them when I was looking for something else. You know how that happens. I put them in the drawer for safekeeping in the area that is, I don't have an area for rub-ons. I really don't have that many. I have some sentiment rub-ons and I guess I have a couple of like I don't know, small things that go with sentiments, like maybe a square that goes around a sentiment or something. But I mean, I don't have sheets like this of rub-on, so I don't have a place for them. That's kind of where the problem comes in. I think I'm identifying the problem as I talk about it. But I put them in a safe place, right? So I put the sheet. It was one whole sheet, and I put it. It was still in the wrapping that it comes in, and then I put it in there, and I kind of never saw it. And it was in between a few other, and I'm cutting this down, by the way, in between a few other gems or something like that. And that's how I found it, looking through the gems for something else. And I went, oh, this is really neat. I should really use these. So here I am having a little fun with them. And I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed the experience. Again, it was time consuming. I wouldn't do this, on the day that you need a card right away. I'm going to go around the outsides of these, which is funny because I'm apparently not going to do it on camera because, then you could see it. But just telling you, I'm going around the outside with this color. And I think it looks very neat, but I go around all four of them and then I go back and cut two of them down, which kind of defeats the purpose of going around them to begin with. But, sometimes you do something and then you change your mind. And here's the four of them after they're put on a background. And I think they came out pretty good. I'm overall pretty happy with them. And I hope you like them and give them a chance. I did pop them up on I used some foam and popped up a couple of them in different places. And I think overall they came out really good. Keep crafting.
And dance by the light of the moon.